Well, I wasn't really planning on making a new video today, much less a talking head vloggy video like this, but like many other engineers and producers out there, yesterday I got a very interesting email from Avid, and it prompted an evening of article reading and video watching to get a grip on things, and I gotta say, I think I need to learn Reaper. Um, I just don't know that I can justify supporting Avid anymore. But I don't know. Let's discuss. You silly mutt. Okay, so what's the big news anyway, right? So Avid has adjusted the Pro Tools structure yet again. They discontinued their free version, Pro Tools First, a while back after some people discovered they could hack it and get access to the full version of Pro Tools. And that has now been changed to Pro Tools Artist and is $10 a month or $100 a year. The Artist tier doubles the allowed track counts from what first offered and allows the use of third-party plugins now. From what I can tell, the target audience is like bedroom musicians, pro or near pro level musicians who just need a platform for making demos outside the studio, and beginner engineers who are just trying to learn the software basics. Next up is Pro Tools Studio, which replaces the good old Pro Tools, also called Pro Tools Standard or Pro Tools Vanilla. Studio will set you back $40 a month or $300 a year. This tier doubles the allowed track counts and voices from the previous Pro Tools Standard and now allows for surround mixing. Target audience here is going to be like indie studios, music producers, small house, post engineers, people who aren't huge but earn money using the software. And then last up is Pro Tools Flex, which replaces Pro Tools HD and costs a whopping $99 a month or $1,000 a year. And the intent for Flex is like big box studios and large post-production houses that need crazy amounts of I/O and track counts. So look, I've been a Pro Tools supporter for a long time. It's what I learned in audio school like 10 years ago. I like the workflows and it just works for me and I like it. As new DAWs have risen up, it's always been a bit of a debate on, do I save the money and work through another learning curve, or do I pony up the dough to Avid and keep on trucking the way I have for years? Even after they introduced the subscription model, I stuck with them because, perpetual licenses were still available and the prices were a bit more than the competition, but not unreasonable. But with this latest reveal, I think they've kind of missed the mark a bit and kind of ticked me off. And here's the big rub. They have taken away perpetual licenses. That's right, for the princely sum of $300 a year, you still don't own your software. And if you stop paying that subscription, then your access to said software goes away. It doesn't matter if you tried it out for a month or have been a loyal subscriber for 5 years and have paid Avid like $1,500 over those years. Bye-bye software access. Hope you have another DAW handy or are just totally giving up audio production altogether. Now, Avid has done things differently for a long time. Most professional software would charge you a large sum per version of the software. And then for the life of that software or for that version, you would get any updates and patches needed until that version was no longer supported. Some companies would even offer a discount if you were upgrading from a previous version. Like even Avid did this for a while before introducing the update and support plan. Now, to understand why people are upset, we need to look back a bit at how Avid's pricing has evolved. So for Avid, and specifically Pro Tools, you paid around $700 upfront for the software and got updates and patches for a year. You could then purchase an extended update and support plan for $99 to get the updates for another year. This was actually pretty cool because it made sure that my software was always up to date. I always had the newest version, and I didn't have to purchase a new version for $300 or so every couple years. And even if you did let your plan lapse, there were reinstatement options that were available for a discount, instead of the full $700, and it was affordable and it kept me working. Then the subscription model started rolling out, and I even tried it one year when I missed my update plan renewal date, and it was affordable and came with some cool extra plugins like Space, and which I really do like Space. I just had a problem with not owning the software that I was paying so much money for, so I bought a reinstatement plan and went back to owning my software, so that if ever I couldn't pay one year, it might cost me a little more in the long run, but at least I wouldn't suddenly be unable to work or forced to purchase and learn a new DAW. All the while, the updates that Avid have been releasing have largely either been cosmetic, hidden, or adding features that other DAWs have had since their inception. But for some reason, Avid felt like that wasn't enough, and they doubled the price of their update and support plans, and started pricing themselves out of the entry-level to prosumer market, probably to try and make their subscriptions a little bit more attractive. Now, I've got to be careful with what I say here, so I'll say that I think Avid are trying to address some long-standing complaints with this latest shakeup. The last couple of years, their pricing scheme had become crazy complicated. Between two different versions, Pro Tools and Pro Tools HD, each one having separate first purchase, update plan, renewal, update plan reinstatement, education first purchase, education renewal, education reinstatement, and then subscription options. Like if you did a search on Sweetwater for Pro Tools, you'd get a couple pages of software options. And even those of us who had been Avid users for years sometimes had trouble navigating it. Secondly, the feature cutoff between Pro Tools Standard and HD has always seemed kind of arbitrary. They've steadily been moving more HD features to Standard over the years, like VCA faders for track groups used to be an HD only feature for some reason. And now surround sound mixing, which was an HD locked feature, is in the studio version. And other DAW users are sitting there watching this going, yeah, we always had that, and for cheaper? Well, trust me, guys, we know. Now they've announced that you can finally adjust the keyboard shortcuts, and Reaper users are just cry laughing at us at this point. They've also received some criticism, Avid has, for their virtual instrument options being fairly limited, which is probably why they added a new synth and sampler with this latest update. Which at least Avid is recognizing there are issues and that they are behind the curve, right? Like the only way they wouldn't get poked fun of as much would be if they just never changed. So I guess that's good. So I think part of this is needed. I also think that they are trying to follow in the footsteps of some other audio production companies that have very successfully implemented subscription models. I'll just use one that I actually use in my studio, which is Slate Digital. But I think Avid is missing the mark by a huge margin in their approach. All right, I know this has been long, but if someone at Avid stumbles across this, here's what it really comes down to, so pay attention. Subscription models only work if they bring value to your customers. That is what Slate understands intimately. You can still purchase most, if not all of the plugins in the Everything bundle for around $150 a pop, give or take. Some are more, some are less. And you own them forever without paying another dime. And you'll continue to get updates so long as the plugin is supported. But the Everything bundle is only $15 a month, and its value keeps increasing. They keep adding new awesome plugins, new online courses, new expansions, and sample packs all the time, but the price stays the same. And it stays the same because they know that so long as they keep bringing us value, they can count on our $15 a month. Purchase is still an option, but the subscription is way more affordable and it's just a better value. That's how subscription models are supposed to work. It's a company saying, hey, look, we know our stuff is expensive, right? So how about we charge you less, let you pay in installments, but the trade-off is once you stop paying, you lose access. Avid, however, has never understood that. Since the inception of their version of the subscription model, the price of the subscriptions have been equal to or greater than the cost of the upgrade plans. So, of course, people chose perpetual licensing. There was little to no incentive to subscribe. Look, you can either try to understand human psychology and work with it, or just try and browbeat your audience into submission. One works much better than the other, and they don't say you catch more flies with sugar for no reason. Prices for Pro Tools have gone up just about every other year, while the offerings have been largely the same. It's the pro audio equivalent of bank service fees. Well, of course we're going to charge you for the privilege of letting us use your money. How else are we supposed to make even more money? You should be happy to be contributing to our success. Another thing that has bothered me about this new setup is the marketing. Avid released a video yesterday along with all this for Pro Tools, and I'll try and find it and link it in the description, but 90% of it was just people saying, it's the industry standard. Buy Pro Tools, because, like, everyone else does, man. Yeah, to a degree it's true. I'm not going to argue against that, but not for the customers that they're trying to draw in. Keeping that as the central marketing premise shows a company that is severely out of touch with its target audience. If they really want to convert the bedroom producers, small studios, and working class musicians, then they need to get with reality and be willing to admit their shortcomings as well as their strengths, and realize they aren't the only kid on the block anymore. Sorry, Avid, you've got competition now. And the only people who care about Pro Tools being the industry standard are already using it. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now. And I guess just to sum this all up, I still really like Pro Tools. It works for me. I'm actually really looking forward to trying out some of these new features. And software subscriptions are here to stay. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that, but it's up to us as consumers to make sure that these subscriptions don't become a predatory business practice. Subscriptions should provide a high value alternative to purchases and permanent licensing. If we let companies make it the only option, that opens the door for price gouging, for intellectual property ownership issues, and it lets some company control when you can create. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Are you okay with this new lineup, or is a day of Reaper tutorials in your future as well? Fill us in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Check the video description for links, and as always, I appreciate you. You're awesome, and have a good one.